Welcome into another edition of our Top 50 Buccaneers Reveal Show presented by Coca-Cola Beverages Florida. Casey Phillips here with Scott Smith, and man, we are surrounded by the Ring of Honor. This is how it feels right now. An incredible time here. We have
star-studded affair.
Star-studded group. We have Paul Gruber. We have Jimmie Giles. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
This is awesome. We have some good people to talk about here.
Think about how many years these guys cover together.
This is what's amazing is in this group of 10, you guys are good authority on some of the people we're going to be talking about. We're talking 20 through 11. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. We are going to meet our number 20 player, and we're going to see who this is here in our little film session.
Coming in at number 20 is Richard Batman Wood. He used to have these really cool Batman armbands. Look at that right there. You knew he was a heck of a player. He was an All-American at USC, drafted by the New York Jets. And during the preseason, the Jets traded him to Tampa Bay to get reunited with head coach John McKay, defensive coordinator Wayne Fonts. And Batman Wood, was our leading tackler for about 8 straight seasons. Man, he knew where the ball was going before the ball was snapped. And he would hit you like a lightning bolt, man. This guy took down some of the best runners in one-on-one situations. He came out of the trash and made big tackles on the perimeter. He had speed and he had physicality, a combination that was hard to block. He was the guy that intercepted a pass in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' first ever win against the Saints. He took it to the house. This guy had a knack for the football. He made big plays in big moments, and he was a team captain on the 1979 NFC Central champions that almost got to the Super Bowl. But his recognition, his instincts, and his tenacity was a combination that separated him from all the others. At number 20, we got Richard Batman Wood.
Okay, so Richard Wood first. Jimmie, tell me about your guy.
Awesome. I always call Richard the ninja of football. I've never seen a linebacker, and to me, he was one of the best linebackers in the league at that time. I've never seen a linebacker was able to work his way through a line of scrimmage of defensive and offensive player and make the tackles. I mean, he was phenomenal at that, and he was graceful with it. And that's, in fact, I think Richard is a black belt in karate during that time. So he was able to use his ability that he gained through outside sources and make it work for him in football. He was a fantastic player.
That jives with what I was thinking, because we had Batman on to talk about one of these other lists, and I just feel like he's such a smooth guy.
Yeah.
He still has
That's the way he operated on the football field. He was really smooth and methodic and making tackles.
Bucs got him as a trade. He was drafted by the Jets in '75, and he went to USC, so John McKay obviously coveted him. And at the time, it was hard to find talent for the expansion team.
By the way, Scott, Richard was the only 3-time All-American in college football at USC.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's quite a look at you coming so prepared with these stats.
Led the Bucs in tackles in 4 of the first 5 years, so he's a very important addition to that.
Especially to start off the franchise back then. All right, well, now we're going to throw it to Mr. Gene Deckerhoff to help us meet number 19.
Before the Bucs had flash and before the winds came flooding, there was James Wilder, the workhorse, the original engine of Tampa Bay football. Selected in the second round of the 1981 NFL Draft out of Missouri, Wilder joined a young Buccaneers franchise still trying to find its identity. What they got was a back who brought everything: toughness, heart, and unmatched endurance. He was a battering ram between the tackles and a sure-handed receiver out wide. In an era where defenses loaded the box, James Wilder carried the load, sometimes literally for the entire offense. In 1984, a season that remains one of the most remarkable in NFL history, Wilder racked up 2,229 yards from scrimmage, touching the ball a staggering 492 times, still the second most in a single season. To this day, he remains the franchise's all-time leader in rushing yards, a record built not just on his talent, but on his determination and durability. Through years of grit and sacrifice, he became one of the greatest Buccaneers to ever wear the uniform. Today, we honor James Wilder as one of the top 50 Buccaneers of all time, the bell cow, the beating heart of the early Buccaneers.
Okay, so we've got James Wilder here. So tell me, Jimmy, what do you remember about getting a chance to watch him?
He's perhaps the toughest runner that you can ever see on a football field. Don't get in his way, because he will run over you. He's not going to try to run around you. He will run over you, and he was an absolute beast. Lawrence Taylor calling him one of the most toughest competitors that he had ever seen. Lawrence Taylor.
That's saying something.
We were actually on the golf course when he told me that. He said, man, that Wilder's a beast.
Man,
That's
He's a tremendous big back. He runs hard. But he's a guy that's going to run the 6, the 8, the 12 yards every time he gets the ball. And he's going to hurt you when he runs. He's going to run it 40 times a game, and you're going to have to hit him every time he gets the ball like you hit him the first time. Or if you don't, he'll hurt you.
But he was a great player, and it's evident of his play and his career statistics with it.
well, those 2 years, 84 and 85, were two of the most remarkable consecutive years for a running back of all time. He had 910 touches in those 2 seasons.
Jeez.
1,544 yards remains the Buccaneers' all-time record for a single season. They had 1,300 the next year. He led the team in both rushing and catching passes in 1984. And even though that was his peak, he played long enough that he played with you.
I was saying, this is one of our
did,
few
yeah, I remember.
crossovers here.
Yeah, I remember coming in as a rookie and having James running behind me. I was like, oh my gosh. I
You
never
don't get
saw
out the way,
anything like
Paul,
that
you'll
in
run over
college.
you.
Yeah. I was like, where'd they get this guy?
Like he was a
he was
power
like
guy?
he was like a lineman almost. He was a big
Yeah,
dude.
he was unbelievable.
That's-
Carried the ball 407 times.
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
NFL record at the time.
Yes.
Pretty fun to block for.
Yeah, he was a great guy to block for. A great guy, just in general. I felt really fortunate to have him in the backfield when I was getting started.
I remember one incident we were playing San Francisco. Ronnie Lott, Hall of Famer, and James Wilder meet head to head in the hole. Guess who came out on top of that?
Oh, wow.
Ronnie walked off holding his shoulder. It was unbelievable.
That's a guy.
Wow.
That's a guy who had half his finger amputated in the middle of the game,
yes,
right?
in the middle of the
Okay. He's dropping names like Ronnie Lott and Lawrence Taylor. on
This is
this thing.
amazing and good toughness recipe here. All right, so now we're going to move on, and in this film session, we'll meet number 18.
Now I want to introduce the number 18 Buccaneer of all time, defensive lineman Gerald McCoy. And Gerald kept that tradition going of dominant players up front, creating havoc for the offensive team, doing it from the inside position, and he could do it against the run and the pass. He was strong, he was quick, he was powerful, he was relentless, just kept that tradition going of how Buccaneers played defense. Dominate the line of scrimmage, be relentless, never take no for an answer, and always feel like you can make the play to change the course of the game. Gerald did it against the pass, he did it against the run, and he did it for a number of years in a relentless fashion that really, really capsulizes Buccaneer football. Gerald McCoy, number 18 Buck of all time.
Okay, we are back here in studio. Time to meet number 17 on our list. I think you guys will be familiar with this person. We're going to see. It's a test. His name is Jimmie Giles. Number 17 on our list, sir. First of all, let's run through some of these stats here. We get a chance to brag on you while you're sitting here. So 34 receiving touchdowns, which is 3rd in team history, 12th in team history points scored, 6th in team history in receiving yards, the 3rd inductee into the Ring of Honor, the 1st offensive edition, and the 1st offensive Pro Bowl player in franchise history. So, Jimmy, thinking back on the career, hearing some of these stats, and now knowing that you're on this list and it's such a high number, what does this mean to you?
Well, it's always an honor to be recognized by the fans and the media in any situation. And I just feel comfortable in some of the things that we did achieve, albeit we didn't throw the ball like they do now. Obviously, when you have a running back like James Wilder and Ricky Bell, they're going to get their opportunity back in their time to carry the football, and you had to be a great blocker for them, and which one of the things that I took extreme pride in doing. I was just like an extended offensive tackle because I'm going to make the block. And then when you gave me an opportunity to make the catch, I go out and make the catch.
That ability to block as well obviously makes for well-rounded tight end. But, I mean, that's kind of surprising because you came to football pretty late in your life, didn't you, compared to a lot of guys?
Yeah, didn't have football on my radar at all. I was going to school to be an attorney. And actually, I was a senior in college when I went out for football.
Yeah.
And the only reason I went out for football is I wanted to be a part of history, because Alcorn State University is my alma mater, and Grambling State University, which is Doug's alma mater, we were the first college football team to play in the Louisiana Superdome, which at that time was one of the wonders of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And for whatever reason, it struck me to say that I want to be a part of that heritage. And I decided to go out for football. I went out, and one of my coaches, the guys were all the former players in college, or the team at that time, they were out running around, and I went out and started catching them football with them and running past their number one cornerback, running past their linebacker.
Yep.
So after it was all over, the coach came and he said, "Son," he said, "you ought to think about playing football." He said, "You have some abilities that might take you to the next level."
Smart man.
I looked around, what level is he talking about? I'm just out here having fun. But he did convince me to come out, and that's where it all started.
The emergence of Ricky Bell coincided with the development of number 88, Jimmie Giles. Obtained from Houston in 1978, along with an exchange of first-round draft picks, Giles played like an all-pro, catching a team-high 40 passes with 7 going for touchdowns.
When I told my dad that I was going, when I got drafted, he just like, "Oh, okay," because he thought I was going to school. I was the first to go to college in my family, and he wanted me to go to school and get my degree and stuff,
That's so funny.
which he was proud of because I got it anyway.
I love it. And
Good.
Paul, what does it mean to an offense to have a guy like Jimmie when he's a tight end who's dedicated to blocking, also can catch the way he does? What does that mean to you guys on the line and an offense overall?
Well, I agree with what he said. I mean, they do a lot of the dirty work. It actually being out on the end there, a lot of the blocking angles and things are not ideal for. So you learn to work with your tight ends a lot as a tackle, and there's a lot of combination blocks and so on. But I think the blocking is probably usually the priority, and then it's kind of changed in today's football. But back in the day, I mean, you were a blocker first, and then you got out in some pattern. So for Jimmie to do what he did with the number of receptions and everything is pretty amazing in that era.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of numbers and ranks, and you were saying 5th and 6th, but first among tight ends in franchise history. And to me, the number that jumps out is 15.4. That was your yards per reception as a Buccaneer. Those are crazy numbers for a tight end. And I felt like you were sort of the ahead of your time in terms of being a downfield threat as a tight end. There weren't a lot. Now we have more of them, but that wasn't the archetype at the time. And I think, kind of a trailblazer.
Well, I don't want to sit here and toot my own horn, but
Go ahead.
Well, for 7 straight years, I averaged over 16 yards a catch, which no other
That's a
tight end in the
wild
National
number.
Football League has done that ever.
Yeah.
Perfect.
In fact, our was the one that brought that to my attention. So
That's pretty cool. I love
it's
that.
it's an honor, but I took pride in blocking because that was the essence of our football team at the time. We were a running team. And I used to have offensive tackles like Charlie Hanna and Dave Revis. "Hey, Jimmie, give me a little help here on the way out on this guy," because when you had guys like Richard Dent and all these guys trying to block a man, they were beasts to block. So I would kind of give them a little help with them, just to give them a little heads up there.
Have you ever been more tired than at the end of that Miami game?
Oh my gosh, that was a great game.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of touchdowns. That's a lot. That's doing a lot.
But actually, I got to give Steve DeBerg a lot of credit on that because he wanted to find me, and he actually tried to get that 5th one.
He tried to get you 5?
Just a nice round number. I love it. Well, again, Jimmie, congratulations. Very excited
deserved.
for you. Very well deserved. All right, we are going to now move on to number 16. We've got Chris Godwin. So second to Mike in every category is basically the way to sum up everything, which in a lot of other franchises,
He'd be number one.
He'd be number one, and it's just incredible to see in, receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and he's already 11th in team history in points scored, and that's despite, of course, 2, pretty major injuries now at this point, but, he's got 579 catches and over 7,200 yards, and he averages 12.5 yards a catch, and just been such an incredible addition to this franchise, both on and off the field.
When he came back from that first major injury in 2022, and then he had 104 catches that season.
Caught ball, left side, great run across the 30. It's Godwin, first action of the season. And he's quick out the pass to Godwin. Godwin behind a block, dives to the end zone, touchdown Tampa Bay. I think Chris Godwin is back.
Which, if the Bucs had not rested their starters for most of the last game, he would have set the single-season record. He's been so many types of receivers, but for the Bucs, but playing in the slot as one of these new, like the big slot, that's not something that was in your guys' era.
No.
It's just the absolute prototype for that. And what an unbelievable find in the third round. And like you said, if it wasn't for Mike, he'd be our all-time leading receiver. So well-deserved at this spot. And I just can never get out of my mind that video last season of him being taken off on the cart. At the time, leading the league in receptions and receiving first downs. They said we're going to use him more in the red zone than we have because we're wasting his talent. And he had 5 touchdowns in his first 7 games.
Incredible.
And he's leaving the field, and you know it's a major injury, and we all know it now. Back to work, John.
Back to work. Yep.
When you have a guy like Chris in a situation like he's just so reliable.
Yes.
Quarterbacks feel extremely comfortable getting the ball to him because he knows he's going to catch it. So
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, just a utility guy.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of great catches. Awesome guy to watch. I love watching him.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
He's
to
got kind of
watch.
the heart of an offensive lineman. I feel like, and I found out he played offensive line as a kid because he was so
really?
big, those like weight requirement things. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. This is a guy that's just willing to do whatever's asked of him, which is great and very reliable. And we love Chris and can't wait to see, man, if we did this list again in a few years,
Might be even higher.
might be even higher. You never know. So
it's great to get him back this year so we can
see
big and better things.
Yep.
even more for him. All right, so now moving on to number 15. We've got Warrick Dunn here. So third in rushing yards in team history with just shy of 5,000. 19 rushing touchdowns, tied for the second most 100-yard games, 17th all-time in receiving yards, 19th in team history in points scored. So, Paul, what do you remember about him getting drafted and coming in here as a rookie?
Oh, he's just a great guy, number one. Probably one of the favorite people that I've played with. But, him and Mike Allstott in the backfield was a real luxury. Worked as he's a small guy in stature, but man, he was strong and quick. And you see a lot more backs like that currently in the NFL, I think, than back in those days. But yeah, he's a wonderful guy, was a great teammate, and a great guy to block for.
Who has Warrick Dunn?
45 sideline, touchdown 20, touchdown Tampa Bay. He went all the way. Warrick Dunn, another Houdini job. The little guy does it again. Here's the snap, toss pitch to Dunn. Dunn runs left to the 3-2. Harris, he's got a touchdown Tampa Bay. Warrick Dunn leaving his ground. He scores a touchdown.
That's all heart and soul, number 28.
Great pass catcher, too, right?
Exactly. Coming out of the backfield. Yeah.
You have to move for him.
Yeah, to be as high as he is in rushing yards and then also be on the top 20 list in receiving yards, pretty incredible.
If the Atlanta Falcons were doing this exercise, he'd probably be in their top 20 as well. He's the
I would say for sure, yeah.
He's the only player in league history with 7,500 yards from scrimmage for 2 different franchises. And every single year he played for the Bucs, including the one when he came back in 2008, he surpassed 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and just an electric player, right?
Yeah, no, he's a special guy, both on and off the football field.
Yeah, Homes for the Holidays.
Yeah.
One of the first really impactful community, big
Initiatives,
ongoing initiatives that the Bucs had, where he was helping single moms because he grew up with a single mom get down payments on their house.
Yeah, that's
incredible,
awesome
right?
thing that he was doing.
Yeah,
I think he probably still does that. Yeah.
He does, yeah, he's still
That
doing
makes a tremendous difference in people's lives when you have a single mother and she has an opportunity to have a brand new home with her kids.
Yeah.
And I applaud him for that.
You remember it was after your last season, but did you see the 2000 game against the Rams?
I don't recall.
Oh, okay. Well, just an incredible, one of the best regular season games in team history, a shootout with the defending champion Rams and the greatest show on turf and all that, and 3 touchdowns. He scored the winning touchdown on an amazing dive, had the pitch play with Sean King. Just indelible moments in franchise history. And you weren't there for that one, but you saw a lot of it.
Yeah, no. And I think the thing that was interesting with Warrick is for his stature. He was so strong, and his lower body and everything. For not being a very big guy, but he played with a big
bigger.
heart. Yeah, a lot bigger.
Kind of like Bucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Better
say
runner between the tackles than you expected?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You wouldn't even think that they'd run him in between the tackles, but if you looked at him, but man, he was efficient doing that.
That's really cool. I love it. All right. Well, now let's move on to meeting number 14 in this film session.
And now for the number 14 Buccaneer of all time, Simeon Rice. Just a wonderful defensive end, came to the Buccaneers in 2001. It was my last year here, and he was actually the final piece to the puzzle of that Super Bowl winning defense. We had a lot of things in place, but we didn't have that one special guy coming off the outside, and Simeon brought that. He brought speed, he brought energy, and he brought that fear to the quarterback. If you drop back and throw the ball, you better get rid of it quick because Simeon is going to be coming. He teamed up with some great defensive players here, but he had the one thing that we really needed, and that was that special pass rush ability. When they had to throw, they had to come back and try to win the games. Simeon Rice was going to be there, hawking the football, making life miserable for the quarterback. He was the quarterback's worst nightmare. Simeon played fantastic football for the Buccaneers. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He will be in the Hall of Fame, and we're looking forward to it. Number 14 Buccaneer of all time, Simeon Rice.
All right, so Simeon Rice soon to join you guys in the Ring of Honor, which is very cool. And, I know, Paul, you mentioned before we actually started that there was something you remembered about him and kind of knowing the defense the way you did leading in and what he meant to this defense when he joined it.
Yeah, I think they had gotten close to getting to the Super Bowl for a few years, but they kind of needed that edge rusher to help out in the defensive front with Warren Sapp and those guys. So I think he was kind of that missing piece for that defense at that time. I played against Simeon a couple times throughout my career, and he was a great pass rusher, great edge guy, high energy. Could kind of get the shoulder down and get around the corner. So have a lot of respect for him. It's great he's going to be in the Ring of Honor.
That's awesome. What do you remember about just the significance of what he meant and the timing of bringing him
Yeah,
in?
Paul was right. He was Bonnie Kiffin convinced him in free agency that you are the final piece of the puzzle. And Paul played with the incredible 1999 defense, which is
right.
I mean, they were amazing, and it went all the way to the NFC Championship game. Nearly shut down the Rams in that game, but. Yeah, he was the guy. Monty Kiffin said, you will take this defense to the next level. And obviously in 2002, they were legendary. But he came in 2001, and for the next 5 years, hit double digits in sacks, topping out at 15.5 1 year. And, I mean, that's you don't find that. Who signs a guy in free agency and gets 5 straight double digit sacks?
Yeah, exactly.
That just doesn't happen. And he was from 1998 through 2005, so that's an 8-year period, almost a decade. He led the NFL with 101.5 sacks, which everybody who's done that, led the NFL for 8 seasons in sacks, that is eligible is in the Hall of Fame. So obviously we've been pushing Simeon for the Hall of Fame, but even if that doesn't come to be, very deserving of this spot in Buccaneers history.
Incredible. I love it. All right. Well, now let's move on to meeting number 13. We got Doug Williams, and I think this is going to be such a fun one to talk about. Of course, our first-round pick in 78, 6th all-time in franchise history in passing yards with 12,648, 73 touchdowns. And, of course, I think a big part of it is just the timing of him coming in, knowing that prior to him, the team had only won 2 games combined in its first couple seasons. But then, man, he led the team to the NFC Central Division crown and a berth in the NFC Championship game, and just so cool to watch the way he kind of helped turn around those early years when it was so hard to be a franchise that was expanding. And Jimmie, I'd love to hear what you remember about him as a person, a player, a teammate, and just his significance to this organization.
Well, there's no doubt he was the most important part of our success in those early years. And as I mentioned earlier, Grambling and Alcorn played in the Superdome, first college team. There was some awesome symmetry there because he and I played in my first game against Doug Williams.
Oh, wow.
And they beat us handily. When I got traded, he was in the same trade class. When the Bucs traded the number one pick to Houston, they got me and the 17th pick, which was Doug Williams.
Yep.
As soon as he was drafted, I called him, and I, just told him, "Welcome to the league, and we're going to be teammates. We played against each other. Now we're going to be playing with each other." And we had a bond that has never been broken. Never had any issues whatsoever, and we've been friends since day one.
That's amazing.
That's the way to get value out of a draft, to get both Doug Williams and Jimmie Giles.
Not a bad move.
Listen, I just wish we had kept Joe Gibbs during that time because he was a phenomenal coach, no doubt. He transitioned Doug back to Washington and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If he had stayed here, we would have gone to the Super Bowl without a doubt.
And if you look at Doug's numbers compared to what quarterbacks are doing today, you wouldn't be bowled over, right?
No.
Like about a 50% completion percentage, stuff like that. But that was a different game.
It was a different game.
And also, he was a team player, right? Like, he'd throw the ball away rather than take a sack. And in 1979, he had the lowest sack percentage of any quarterback in the league because he was all about team, right?
Absolutely. Doug Williams, I think it was 7 sacks, offensive line. We actually got a plaque. And we had a chance to go to the White House because of him. We should have taken him with us because he did throw a lot of passes away to keep from getting the sack because he was a team player. He didn't want to put the offense in a bad position. And we were able to win a lot of games because of that.
That's amazing. All right, we're going to move on now to meeting number 12 in this film session.
Now, number 12 Buccaneer of all time, middle linebacker Hardy Nickerson. Great player, team captain, middle linebacker of some fantastic defenses. The thing about Hardy is he wasn't like normal middle linebackers who only patrolled that area. You're going to see him make plays sideline to sideline in the backfield, sacking quarterbacks and going 20 yards deep, intercepting passes. He did it all. But the thing you're going to notice and see is he's always around the football, whether it's a run, whether it's a pass, wide play, sweep. Doesn't matter. Hardy Nickerson found the football, and that's what he did so well. Hands around the ball, causing fumbles, creating plays for their defense. We'll talk about the Tampa 2, dropping deep in the middle to intercept passes. He patrolled the whole field, and that was rare in those days for a middle linebacker. Yes, he could stick. Yes, he could hit. Yes, he could knock people back. But he could also go sideline to sideline and find the football, and he was also invaluable in the passing game. But more than anything else, for those Buccaneer teams in the mid-90s and early 2000s, a leader of men. And that's what I loved about Hardy Nickerson. Played with emotion, played with passion, and made big play after big play, wanted to be the best, and set that standard very, very high. Hardy Nickerson, tremendous player, middle linebacker, captain, big play man.
Okay, so Hardy Nickerson. Tell me, Paul, what do you remember about being a teammate of this guy and maybe some of those training camp battles that may have happened?
Yeah, Hardy was a competitor, man. When we signed him, he really, I think, changed the mentality of the team in a lot of different ways, both defensively and offensively, because he came to work every day. And
yeah, baby! Yeah! 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 Ah! I can't wait to get back out there and give me another piece. Blow somebody else up. Boy, I'm killing you all day long. I'm killing you. I'm killing you.
he was a battler and had come from the Steelers, a very winning organization. I think it was the first year of free agency.
Yes.
And now he's a great competitor. He's a wonderful guy, good family man. But he was a great addition to the Bucs at that time.
Is the story true about the game where they had laid out the all orange uniforms, and you went in the locker room and Hardy said, "No, we're not doing this." Is that true?
Yeah, well, Hardy and I were the captains at that time, and we went into some way. Yeah, and we were like, "Listen, we're not wearing this enough."
But that's the kind of impact that these guys had.
They could just say no, and everybody listened. Yeah.
And Paul was obviously important in that too, but Hardy was like this is the way we're going to do things, right?
Yeah, it was. I remember that vividly. That discussion.
It's incredible.
214 tackles the first year that we signed him, still a team record. And you were right; it was the very first year of real free agency, and we may not have had too many free agent additions since then that were better than the very first one.
214 tackles?
214.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot. Well,
Still a team record.
Since it sounds like the two of you did that together, it seems only appropriate you would be on this list together as well. You, sir, we're now moving on to number 11.
All right.
And that is you, Mr. Paul Gruber. So let's go ahead.
Congratulations.
Yeah, look at that. So now is what it was so great having both of you on to both be a part of this list. Before we start talking about it first, let's hear a little bit about what Gene has to say about Paul's career.
Some legends don't seek the spotlight. They earn it, brick by brick, block by block. For 12 seasons, Paul Gruber was part of Tampa Bay's foundation. Quiet, unshakable, and always there. Drafted 4th overall in 1988, Paul Gruber became the starting left tackle from day one and never looked back. He started 183 games in his career, all of them as a Buccaneer. Week in and week out for over a decade, he was the one constant, the wall that protected every quarterback, the engine behind every running lane. Paul Gruber wasn't loud. He didn't need to be. His game spoke in pancakes and clean pockets. His style, pure technician, precise hands, flawless footwork, relentless effort. The kind of player young linemen still study to this day. No stat can capture what Paul Gruber meant to the Buccaneers. He didn't demand praise, but he earned every ounce of respect from teammates, from opponents, and from every fan who watched him battle in the trenches with pride. Today, we proudly name Paul Gruber as one of the top 50 Buccaneers of all time, the silent sentinel, the Iron Man, and the protector who helped usher in a new era of Buccaneer football.
All right, so Paul, tell us what it means to you hearing that you're making this list here, and especially at number 11.
Oh, it's a tremendous honor when I, just think of all the guys we just spoken about, and the careers that they've had, and the influences that they've had on the game and everything. I mean, it's just an honor to be in there with them.
And what do you remember about the impact Paul has? I think offensive linemen, it's always really cool for fans to hear a little bit more because the stats don't always exist to tell the story the way it deserves.
I got a good stat.
I don't doubt it.
We were talking before we started that very, very early in my time here with the team, I got to write a story about Paul. We used to have game programs. We don't do that anymore. And I remember the title included the word Iron Man. You know the number. You want to tell them?
I don't know the exact
You
number.
do know the number because I saw
that is the most offensive lineman humility I've ever seen.
4,850 consecutive offensive snaps from the moment he was drafted 4th overall.
Yeah, the 4th overall.
In
I know that number.
1988 through 1992, 4,850 consecutive offensive snaps. So coaches often talk about how one of the best abilities is availability.
Yeah.
And Paul just never came off the field.
It's incredible.
That is an Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess just kind of where I grew up and everything, and the blue collar work ethic. That's just how we did it. But I trained hard and worked hard to prepare for the season and so on, and just wanted to be out in the field doing my thing and helping the team.
And for practically a decade, it didn't pay off in any sort of playoffs. So how gratifying was it for you that things finally turned around in the latter part of your career and you got to go to the playoffs in 97?
No, I feel fortunate that, Tony came in and was able to be a part of that whole process of kind of transitioning the team just from having losing ways into a winner. And so it was fun to get to the playoffs towards the end of my career and kind of finish on a high note.
I don't want to bring up any bad memories, Paul, but another moment I vividly remember from my time with the team in the 90s was the 99 final game of the '99 season, the Buccaneers won to clinch a first-round bye.
Yeah, home field advantage.
And Paul was such an incredibly important part of that team. And sorry, I know I just said I don't want to bring bad memories, but unfortunately suffered a broken leg in that game. And the emotions in the locker room at the end of that game, I mean, we were celebrating because it was such an important victory, but it was hard to celebrate. Everybody was devastated. And I think that says how much you meant to that team.
No, that was a tough way to go out, but I was blessed to be able to play as long as I did, and obviously stay healthy and everything. So, it's just the way it goes. But I would have loved to, maybe played a couple more years and been a part of some of the team as we were starting to turn things around.
That's amazing. Well, again, congratulations, Paul. So deserving. Congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much for being here to help us break down this list and for all of the amazing insight you guys gave. We really appreciate it.
We're in the company of greatness.
Yes, we are. I know Scott and I feel honored. So
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We feel ring of honored. All right, that's going to do it for us on this part of the list. We have one episode left. We've finally made it. We'll be counting down the top 10 on our top 50 Buccaneers reveal list, so you will not want to miss it, and we'll see you then.